Here on Penny Help Jess, my goal is really to learn as much about numismatics, coin collecting, coin errors, and the like. And while penny roll hunting, I find things, what are anomalies to me, right? Because I don't know definitively what type of errors. What I do is I do research. And my hope is that through the research, I find the error that I'm looking for, right? So today during episode, 422, I found an error on this coin. And I think it's pretty obvious even from this distance, right? Do I even need to zoom in on it? So I will zoom in on it. And the coin appears to be misaligned dyed slightly, right? From east to west. It's a little bit thicker on the west than it is the east. And there appears to be a separation or extra metal around the west side of the rim. And there appears to be some of that metal came over and is on the rim or the obverse of the coin. Now, there were two things going on in my mind. Is this a collar error and or is it a cud? And I really wasn't sure because it's really on the rim. It doesn't appear to be coming off the rim, but it's on the rim. And I really was not sure whether or not that would constitute a cud if the metal was just, or if it was some sort of other type of error. So I had to go look for it. I went looking through, I'm on Error Ref, and I searched through collar errors, and I did not find anything. I'm going to show you what I did find in a second. So on Error Ref, there's a search bar, and you could just type in whatever you want, and it'll come up with whatever information it has stored on the website. So I typed in collar, and I looked through it, and I did not find anything. I found the wide collar error, but it said that the diameter of the coin should be wide. So I measured, for the first time I measured the diameter of a coin. First time I've ever done that in my life. And it was not wide. So I was like, okay, it's not a wide collar error. Let's see if it's a cud. And then I came and I stumbled upon this. And let's read it together, or at least part of it. Die break retained cuds. Retained cuds of hammer die. Okay, what does that mean? A retained cud is a fragment that breaks off of the edge of the die. A retained cud is a fragment that breaks off the edge of a die, but is nevertheless held in place. Okay. Retained cuds are rarely found in connection with the hammer die. That's because gravity usually ensues that the fragment falls out and is lost. Oh, it's been said that the fragment is held in place by the bolt or clamp that secure the hammer die in its recess within the die assembly, but this cannot be the case because the die neck where retained cuds form is free. It is the die shaft and base that are tightened down. Okay. There must therefore be another mechanism responsible for retained cuds of the hammer die. The vast majority of claimed retained cuds of the hammer die are probably invalid. Okay, I believe that. Most of these alleged retained cuds were probably still connected to the rest of the die necks. Slight to moderate displacement is likely due to subsurface deformation beneath the cracked die face. In case of several horizontal displacements, it's possible that the die fragment breaks free, shifts position, and then fuses to the roof of the void during the next strike. Okay, I see. So what they're saying here, and again, this was the closest thing I could find, is that a piece of the die broke off, and it let me see. This scent represents a reasonably good candidate for a retained cut of the hammer die, in this case the obverse die. The island of design at the base of the Lincoln's bust shows a great deal of lateral spread and horizontal offset. The amount of vertical displacement is slight, however. If this is a true retained cut, it is likely that the die fragment fused to the roof of the void after the breaking free and shift position. If not, then we can assign the movement to subsurface deformation. All right, let me see if there's anything else besides this. Oh, here goes. All right, so this is it. Rim. It's a rim cut. Oh, now look. You just saw in real life, like if you're on a safari and you're looking at animals in Africa. This is a real life testimony to how you research coin, how much time it takes. Remember, I did some research prior to even starting this video. And what we just read, all of this up here, as I was reading it, I was like, I don't think this is it. I don't think this is a retained hammer die cut. From what I'm reading, it's not matching up with our coin. Then I said, oh, let's keep going down because it does look like a cud. And look what we find. Die breaks rim cud. And that is much closer to what we have, a rim cud. All right, and there's various rim cuds. We don't have that. We don't have that. We don't have that. I don't think we have that. Retained cuds with vertical displacement. I don't think we have that. It's just on the rim. We don't have that. All right. Let's go back to what I think it is. What looks most like it, which is this. Very, very interesting. All right, so let's read this now. I mean, this is on a Washington. Ours is a penny. Where's it at? Die break rim cuts represents loss of part of the die's rim gutter. On the coin, it appears as a raised interruption in the design rim that perfectly tracks the course of the design rim. That sounds like what we got. Oh, that's all. That's all they say. All right, I have to read that again. Washington's quarter shown above has a rim cut at 5 o'clock. Well, this is very high. This rim cut is very high. Let me pause let me look at ours to see. This seems very high. So I typed in rim cut and not just cut, just to be more specific on the search. And this is what came up. So I'm going to show you, and it's still kind of, this is the closest thing, but I just think it's part of the rim pushed over and on, part of the actual penny. This here represents loss of part of the die's gutter rim. What? All right, first of all, I don't know what that is. Let me look that up. All right, so I looked up the die gutter rim, and this is what came up. Peripheral, which means around the edge. Die damage, peripheral die damage. Peripheral die damage has many causes as a result of marginal die loss. A die attribution error is a type of peripheral die damage. The edge of the die can be chipped off or worn away as a result of accidental contact with the collar or other machine parts. So, okay, so here, this is what they're showing the examples of it, right? Here's one, and here's another, and here's another. And see, and they're not, see, this isn't a cud. This has to do with the damage to the die. Now, if the die is damaged, right? So let's just look at this rim of the penny, and ours has part of it flapped over. So if let's say this portion of the rim on the die, right? This portion of the die was missing. What would happen when it, like if it had a chip that was this size, right? When the die came down, what would it look like? It would be raised. Portion of the rim would be raised because it's missing. So it would raise into that missing slot on the die. Do you understand what do you understand? And to me, that's the most close thing to what I was thinking of here. So let's look at it again. And then what I'll do is there was another, there was a more specific. So here, and again, this is part of what makes the understanding coin errors so interesting. Let me take this off. So if this part of the die, where's it at? Let's see, I get a little closer. If this part of the die is missing, when it comes down and strikes, the penny's going to go into that void, into that space that is missing along the edge of the die, around the peripheral of the die, the rim. It's the peripheral of the die which forms the rim on the planchet. And if it's missing, now let's look at the edge. Nothing weird there, nothing weird about the edge. Let me see. Nope, just has that space. Now, there was something else on error ref that I noticed. It said die attrition error. I will read it very quickly. This is the most recognizable and regular form of peripheral die damage. A die attrition error is generated when a temporary misaligned hammer die smacks repeatedly against the beveled entrance of the collar. This wears away the edge of the field portion of the die and sometimes the entire rim gutter. I guess that's the rim gutter. I guess that's where the rim is formed. This leaves the coin with an unstruck raised crescent on the face of the struck by the hammer die. The internal margin of the crescent is smooth, particularly severe die attrition. Die attrition errors are especially abundant among 1983 cents. Well, this is a 1980. So let's look at that. Let's look at a die attrition error on a 1983. On a 1983, it's funny, right? You would think they would show that here, but they're not. They're showing quarters. All right, let me pause this and look for one online. All right, so there's only one that I see on eBay and they're calling it a die attrition error. Interestingly enough. Let me see. Go back a little. We'll go through his. So pretty close to what we got. And you can see it, I guess, here, right here and here, where you have the extra copper. So the rim gutter, that's an interesting term, huh? Rim gutter. Okay, so that makes, so far that makes the most. Let me take these off. I gotta take my thumbs off. They get so smooth after a while. My finger gloves, they make it so hard for me to hold the penny. So that kind of makes sense to me, right? There's a space in the rim gutter on the die, and when it hits the planchet, it leaves that space on the rim. Die attrition. Okay. Now, attrition, I thought it, hold on. Okay, so attrition is the loss of the reduction of the decrease in. So the decrease in the reduction of the attrition of the gutter die gutter. I already forgot. This is why this stuff takes years and years of practice to learn. So anyway, anybody who's still here after 16 minutes, God bless you for putting up with that. The only thing I'll make a shameless plug in for the channel, to click like and subscribe, to consider becoming a member, and this is probably, now this was super thorough, but if somebody sends, hopefully I can get quicker at it, right? Because if I spend 15 minutes for $3.50, I'm making $14 an hour. So maybe that's, no. Yeah, 7 and 7 is 14. So a $5 super chat, I get $3.50 for, okay? So for a $5 super chat, I will do the research for the pictures you sent me. And if someone sends me this picture, now I will do my best to identify what the error is. In this case, you saw the process that I went through to find out that this was a die attrition from the from what appears to be the gutter on the hammer die, on the working hammer die. Please click like and subscribe. God bless, and I'll see you in the next episode.